what's going to happen is that we're all going to have to make a choice, what kind of world we're going to live in. Now, I'm not saying you should sit on a street corner and tell people the end is nigh, and they better get, with God. I'm not sure it's going to be physical, but I certainly think I presented a model under which, if you really got me into the details, which is another 4 hours, I think I could pretty much convince anybody that it's a scenario under which there could be a physical change, definitely a pole shift, the kinds of things that people are worried about. So what that created in me is a sense of urgency to start talking about what I'm feeling in my heart and in my mind is going to happen. And as it turns out, the Mayans knew about this a long time ago. They knew that this time was special. So did the Hindus. They have the Yuga cycles, which end at the same period, and they have a great God who's going to come down and judge. And we have the teachings of Aetherius that tell us that there's something big that's going to happen. So I've thought about, why am I drawn to this place suddenly in my life? And we're going to learn that in a minute. And it's because you guys. It's funny. Somebody said to me, "Don't you think that place is kind of like out of the 50s or something? It's a little in the back." And I said, "No, I think this place, I think the rest of the world is finally caught up to the Aetherius Society. I think that you guys are going to come into your own, and what you're teaching is going to be really, really important for the world." So, and we'll show you that. This is the Mayan calendar. This is the Aztec calendar stone. Basically, these are gears. There's these gears on the inside, and they drive gears that are in the middle, and then it drives a bigger gear on the outside. And it's a count of days, and a 260-day year, which is their sacred year. They have a 365-day year, which matches the orbit of the sun around the Earth, or the Earth around the sun. And in fact, it's more accurate than our own calendars, and our own sidereal year. And how the Mayans saw the universe, how they saw the world, was that there were 9 underworlds, and above that were 13 heavens. Now, underworlds are not in the sense that we think of them as hells or underworlds. They were simply lower realms that were the basis for the reality we lived in, and that were steps leading up to the 13 heavens. And the whole thing was connected by the tree of life, whose roots went all the way down to the 9th underworld and all the way up to the top of the 13th heaven. And we traveled up and down as souls on this tree of life. The first underworld, which has lasted for 16.4 billion years, we're in this last cycle, which is 12.8 years, and it started in 1999, I think May of 1999. And we have a little bit of time left before we get to the very last underworld, which is going to only last 1 Mayan year, 260 days. Each one of these is a level of consciousness. What's happening is that the consciousness is rising. Now, there's one underworld to go, which is the universal underworld. So we're at a stage now is the galactic underworld, where we are becoming aware not just of our place on the Earth and how important the Earth is to us, and that the Earth is alive. We're now going to come to the stage at the end of this, in a few months, where most of us become aware that the galaxy is alive, that the galaxy is part of the oneness, that it is all connected. And the very last phase, where we achieve nirvana, is going to be the universal underworld, or the very top phase, the very top step of the pyramid, where we realize that the entire universe is connected, and we experience that. One of the things I'm going to talk about in the book, in the choice, is designer solar systems. And literally, I think our solar system has been set up and designed to create exactly the right physical environment for our minds to be open to what's going to happen to us in the next few years. And this just convinces me more firmly. Right after that, 6 days later, is the transit of Venus, the second transit of Venus in the cycle. And the center of that will be right over the United States. So I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of change in our country. Take something, spin it, you start getting energy, it's all tetrahedral, and energy comes out of it. That's what it is. And it's all decoded in Richard's book, The Monuments of Mars. So that's really neat stuff, but there's other crop circles. This one, and again, I can't read the code, has to do with the pulse of energy from the galaxy. It has to do with the Mayan calendar, I'm told, and I believe it. A lot of people have decoded it. Same thing with some of the other crop circles. Here's another one that's related to the Mayan calendar. Nostradamus supposedly, at the end of his life, told his son some of the last visions he'd had, and some things were written down, and eventually some paintings were made. This is one of them. This is supposed to be a self-portrait of Nostradamus, who is holding out a book, which is supposed to be our future. And our future is blank. It's a blank book. And the meaning of it is pretty straightforward. It means we get to choose what our future is going to be. We get to decide what, in fact, we're going to have. And the answer is that it's really, really, truly up to us. So what has to happen is that we all have to turn inward to our spiritual centers. We have to turn to God in whatever way we choose. Some people are going to choose the Aetherius Society. Some people are going to choose yoga. Some people are going to choose the Catholic Church or the Mormon Church. And the important part of this is that as you do that, it's not enough to simply go in and pray and meditate and not do anything. And some people do that. It's like part of yoga is clearing your mind and being empty. What we need to do, I believe, to change things is to actually set the intent. Set our intent for what we want the future to be. Now, people will tell you that you're powerless. People will tell you that the end of the world is something that happens to you. And that's not right. The end of the world as we know it, and that can mean physical, it can mean we don't have money anymore, it can mean lots of different things. The end of the world as we know it is something that we all participate in. Now, every person in here puts out about 100 watts of energy, okay, in a given moment. You're all 100-watt light bulbs. Within every 100-watt light bulb, there's enough destructive energy to eclipse the total nuclear arsenals of the entire planet that have ever been on this planet. Okay, but that's every second of existence, because every second after that, every moment after that, you recreate that energy. So take that 100 watts and amplify it by 7 billion people. And how much energy does this planet have on it? How much energy do you have? So this pulse of energy is going to come from the center of the galaxy. And I believe it's going to come whether Planet X is there or not and tips the planet over is a whole different story. But that pulse of energy is going to come, but it's neutral. It's completely neutral. What the Mayans say, what William Henry says, is that Quetzalcoatl will ride a serpent rope from the center of the galaxy. And at the end of that serpent rope, when he gets there, he will judge us. The Catholics and the Bible talks about the Day of Judgment. Okay? Now, the Day of Judgment, or Judgment Day, or Terminator 2 Judgment Day, it's all about, you know, you're being judged. Are you good? Are you bad? Do you go to hell? Do you go to heaven? Okay, that's what we think it's about. But it's not about. That's not what it's about. In this case, it's going to judge what we want. The judgment is going to be, I believe, what's your intent? We have an opportunity here to recreate the world in the next few years. And what it's going to be is entirely up to us. So the questions that I keep asking myself as we approach the end of this is, you know, who are you? In my case, who are you, Mike Bara? And what do you want? Those are the questions you have to ask yourself. And yes, if you watched an old TV show called Babylon 5, that was the questions that the aliens asked. And I think there was something channeled or profound in that. And I didn't realize at the time why it was important, but I think I understand it now. So go ask yourself that question, and then decide how you're going to implement your choices. So, thanks.
Thank you, Mike.
And this is what we do in the Aetherius Society. This is the part of the 12 blessings that we use. And it's part of the 12 blessings that is said that it's time for the 12 blessings, especially on a holy mountain. Like Mount Shasta is a wonderful holy mountain, but we have one even more holy for us, kind of more accessible for us, nearby Mount Baldy. What we're going to do now is we're going to join with the Master Jesus, and Master Jesus was one of these beings, a very evolved spiritual being from another world who came to earth to help us, and he came more recently verbally through Dr. King and gave these 12 blessings. And this is the 7th blessing, where we give love and compassion and thanks to the Mother Earth.
Blessed
is the Mother Earth.
Cosmic Masters have always said this, is that there's many, many paths. All the religions were started by these spiritual elders. And so if you are drawn to be a Buddhist, or to be a Christian, or to be a Hindu, or to be a Muslim, to be a Taoist, all these are wonderful traditions. And never ever try and coerce or talk anyone out of their feeling of how they want to express their spirituality. But encourage people and encourage yourself. Because the most important thing is to find the path that resonates with you and to help as many people get with it and get with it all of ourselves as well. Thank you very much for coming.